The second reason why the divorce rate is high and increasing is lack of marital preparation and wisdom. The third and final reason is having a wrong conceptualization of marriage. The third reason why the divorce rate is so high and increasing is because people have a wrong conceptualization of marriage. Let's take an example. Well, first, what does that mean? That means people don't have a right understanding of marriage. But I'll give an example so it'll be clear. You can have a person who, for example, is struggling with lust, and they think that going into marriage will solve their sexual issues, will solve their lust issue, and the lust is manifesting in onanism, which is another term for masturbation. Is the lust is manifesting in fornication, masturbation, whatever the case may be. So they're struggling with lust, and then it's manifesting in these different sexual vices. And they think that if they get married, the lust will be solved. So that's a wrong conceptualization right there, because they think marriage is a solution for sexual problems. That whenever you're struggling with you're struggling with your sexuality, you're struggling with your sexual urges, marriage is the solution. And they'll use Paul's epistle to prove it. Oh, it's better to marry than to burn. Paul wasn't saying that marriage is the solution to burning. He said it is better to marry than to burn. He didn't say if you're burning, get married, and the marriage will take away the burning. You'll still be burning, but at least now that you're burning, you'll have a way of expressing or giving expression to that burning desire legally and justifiably. That's all it means. It means it's better if you're struggling with lust. It's better to be married and struggle with lust than to be single and struggle with lust. That's what he was saying. He wasn't saying that if you get married, you'll not struggle with lust anymore. No, he's saying that it is better to struggle with lust in marriage than to be out of marriage, because at least you have somebody that you can righteously have sex with and not be guilty of sin, as opposed to being single and struggling with lust and you have no way of giving expression to that sexual desire. He didn't say it's the solution. It was a temporary remedy to a problem that is persisting. Which solution is not marriage? Marriage is not the solution to lust, because where does lust come from? Lust comes from the flesh. The Bible speaks about the lusts of the flesh. Lust, which is desire for something forbidden, comes from the flesh. And the cure for the flesh is not marriage. You don't get married and automatically become a spiritual person. Like you were carnal June 5th before you got married, and then you got married on June 6th. You were a carnal man on June 5th, and then when you got married, you snapped into a spiritual man. No, marriage does not produce spirituality. Marriage is not the cure for carnality. The carnality or the cure for carnality is spirituality. And if you are carnal and struggling with lust and get into a marriage, that marriage will not strip away the carnality or the lust. It'll just give you an expression, but you'll still be carnal and you'll still struggle with lust. It'll just be a decrease. It may be a decreased struggle, but you'll still struggle. Because one of the highest causes of marriage in this present time is masturbation and pornography. It didn't used to be so, but now it is so. So there are married people, they are married, a wife, a husband, and some of them are even Christian with children, and they're still struggling with masturbation and pornography. Not only are they struggling, but it is a catalyst for the disaster of their marriage. It is one of the reasons their marriage is suffering, is because of masturbation and pornography, because that's still cheating, my friend. Yes, sir. It's still infidelity. Infidelity is not just physically having sex with somebody else. Remember, Jesus exposed to us that the law goes beyond the letter. It goes into the spirit and the intents of man's hearts. So it's not enough to say, well, I haven't physically slept with a woman. He said, if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, in the realm of the spirit, forget about the flesh, because Jesus is a spiritual man. And we do not look to the things which are seen, because the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. So as a spiritual man, he's telling you, forget about what you see in the flesh. In the realm of the spirit, if you have looked at a woman with lust, you've already committed sex with her. So when you say you're a virgin, according to what dimension? In the natural dimension, you're a virgin. But if we look in the realm of the spirit, all of the thoughts you've had, all of the pornography you've consumed, you've slept with thousands of people. So when a woman comes on YouTube and said, I have 1,000 bodies, we look at her and say, well, that's disgusting. How could you sleep with 1,000 people? But to God, you've also slept with 1,000 people. You may have not physically touched them, but in the spiritual realm, your lust for that person was as good as sleeping with them physically. And so you may be physically a virgin. You never physically had sex with somebody, but just lusting after somebody, that's a body. In the realm of the spirit, forget about the natural realm. We're not natural people. We don't judge things by the flesh. He says, do not judge by outward appearance. No. And so with that misconceptualization, again, he'll go into the marriage thinking that the marriage will solve his lust problem, but it won't, because the cure for carnality is spirituality. He must learn how to walk in the spirit if he wants to solve his lust problem. But see, that misconceptualization will create many problems in his marriage. Why? Because again, he'll go into his marriage thinking that this woman will be the solution to my lust issue. And then they'll be copulating, and then he'll still be struggling with masturbation and pornography. And he'll be wondering why. And then what will happen is resentment, because now he thinks it's the woman's fault. It's you're not complete enough. Maybe if you were like the woman I see in pornography, I wouldn't want to watch porn anymore. I wouldn't want to have sex with other women. So he now thinks it's the woman's incompleteness that's now exacerbating his lust issue. And then now it can create verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, because he thinks the wife is the reason now that he's struggling. And it all began from his wrong paradigm, his thinking that the marriage would solve the lust. And then he went into it, it didn't solve it. Now he thinks it's the woman's fault. Many marriages are like that. Christian guys who go into a marriage thinking is now the woman's responsibility to fix my flesh issue. She's the one that has to cure my carnality. No, no, sir, no. The spirituality of every man is his own responsibility. Walk in the spirit. He's not telling us all. He's telling us as individuals. I can't be spiritual for you, and you can't be spiritual for me. To be spiritual, what does it mean to be spiritual? To be spiritual means to live by spiritual instructions. It means to live by the instructions of God. I can't make you live by God's instructions. No. Nobody can make you spiritual. Somebody can teach you how to be spiritual, but I can't make you spiritual. There's a difference. See? Just like I can't make you speak Chinese. I can teach you how to speak Chinese, but I can't snap my fingers and tap you on the head and you speak Chinese. Well, that actually is possible. It can be an impartation. There's such a thing as the gift of languages. But in the natural realm, let's say in the natural realm, I can't just make you speak Chinese just like that. You see that now. In the realm of the spirit, that actually is a possibility. But that's a different discussion. Now, so that's the third reason, a misconceptualization, having a wrong understanding or paradigm of marriage, because improper understanding produces improper practice. When you don't understand something correctly, you will use it improperly. If you don't understand a phone, you will incorrectly use the phone. If you don't understand marriage, you'll incorrectly relate with the concept and the institution of marriage. Marriage is not the cure for carnality.